create an opportunity for yourself with first-time home buyers. The great thing about a first-time home buyer is they're going to buy several homes throughout their lifetime. And if you can maintain that relationship and have a really good start to it, I think there's opportunity to get in front of these people and do a really good job. People need to know what it means when interest rates rise, right? So when I bought my first home in the 90s, interest rates were like 11 or 12%. Today, they're, what are they, 6.5%, which really isn't that crazy. So we're coming out of this time when interest rates were super low, but it's not like the sky's falling right now. There's still opportunity. The rates aren't crazy. I believe they're going to come down a little bit in the next little while. So use that as a benefit.
All right. Hey, everyone. Thanks for coming into the webinar today. Hope everyone's having a great day. Do me a favor, drop in the chat where you guys are from. I'd like to know where everyone's kind of tuning in from. That's always fun. We are live and ready to go. My name is Nick Baldwin. I'm co-founder of LabCoatAgents, and I have Stuart Sim with me, VP of Industry Development at Chime. Chime is a CRM and a marketing platform for real estate agents. We love it here at LabCoatAgents. It's a really awesome platform. And today we're going to talk about creative strategies to fill your pipeline in this new market. Like, I feel like there's been multiple markets over the last 3 years, just kind of rapid fire markets back to back, like markets that, typically take, 8 to 10 years to ease into, but we've seen a seller's market and a buyer's market in just 3 years, back to back. So people can get overwhelmed by that.
Yeah, it's been absolutely crazy, right? So COVID did some amazing things for the real estate industry, but now that we're pulling back and getting back to reality, obviously, with interest rates and low inventory and things like that. But it's an interesting time to be in the industry. I'm anxious to hear your opinions, Nick.
100%. Yeah. So it is definitely interesting. We're seeing expired listings again, which is crazy. We haven't seen that in a while. We're seeing houses sitting on the market a little bit longer. We're seeing less bidding wars and more inspection negotiations. And that kind of happened overnight, really. It was very interesting how all that happened. So what about you, Stuart? What are you hearing or seeing from agents that you guys work with?
Yeah, it's interesting. Chime, we're in a really good spot. So, being one of the newer players in the marketplace, so we've only been around since 2015. We continue to grow like crazy, and I think that's a positive sign for the product and the technology that we're driving and that we're building in the background. And I think for us, 2023 and 2024 are going to be really great years, and we have our goals and where we believe we're going to end up. But I also see that throughout, if you're a top agent or a top team member or a top broker, I think there's still opportunity out there to do really well. But I do believe that you need to get a little creative, where over the last couple of years, there's been so much inventory on the market. There's been enough for everybody to play with, therefore making the real estate industry, a great place to be. And now, traditionally when the market starts to suffer, what do you see? You see a mass exodus of agents leaving the industry, and then eventually they get replaced once the economy turns around. But I think this is going to be a little different. I think you get a little more strategic. I'm interested in some of the conversations that are taking place around home equity and how you can convince someone to spend some of that equity and things like that to create business yourself. So I believe that the top 20, top 30% of agents are continued to thrive if they can get out of their shell and drive business.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. There seems to be a lot of people from Canada on the call today. Stuart, are you in Canada by any chance?
I am in Canada.
I was gonna say I could hear it in your voice. That's why I mentioned.
I live about 45 minutes south of Vancouver, right on the border of the US.
Okay, I'm in Michigan, I'm close to Canada, about 45 minutes from Canada, but I
I know it
forget
well. I
what
grew
part
up in
of
the
Canada.
East, so love it.
Yeah. Cool. So let's just dive right into it. Everybody's looking for new ways to, because I think in a new market that we've never seen before, people are always looking for different and new ways to get that business. Maybe you're burnt out from cold calling. Maybe the postcards aren't working. So let's jump in and see what we got here, and hopefully there's a lot of people on the call, 200 people, which is awesome. You guys are motivated in 2023 to learn how to get stuff done. So I love it. I love it.
I was reading an article on LinkedIn yesterday about this, where we're positioned in the industry right now. And we were talking about the number of closings that people have done with certain products. So it was great to see, first week into January, lots of positive closings. So I'm excited about 2023. I can go through some of the strategies that I believe can help you in your market. And, Nick, if you want to add commentary, please do. But I do believe the first thing that you've got to do is embrace technology before I get into kind of some of the other stuff. Because the automation that's out there today, to take some of the heavy lifting off your shoulders, is really, really important. If you've got a database of 10,000 people, there's no way you're going to actually reach out to each one of them. So the automation piece is key. Make sure you have some great technologies behind that, but also make sure that they integrate with pieces of technology that you use, whether it's social media, marketing, search engine optimization, pay-per-click, that kind of thing. So I'm a huge believer in technology. I've been doing this for, I've been in tech for like 25 years, but real estate tech for 13. So embrace technology, make sure you're using it. But there's other things that you can do that are very specific to your market, right? So I love the concept of delivering information to the consumer. So there's lots of first-time home buyers out there that, whether they missed the opportunity during COVID, we're a little bit scared to get into the market, there's opportunity to educate people, right? So the consumer has much more access to knowledge today than they did 3 years ago. What we saw during COVID was the consumer was spending much more time on specific sites. So whether it was realtor.com, Zillow, some of the other competitors, even just the basic MLS stats kind of went through the roof. So people are looking for information. And if you can use your knowledge of your specific market to provide these first-time home buyers with that valuable information, I think it's essential. So, the trick is to have yourself positioned as an expert in your marketplace. And there's a few ways you can do that, right? So I'll talk a little bit more about social media as we go through there, but use the past customers that you've had to help create the business. So whether they give you a testimonial or they're willing to share information on social media, it's great to get that out there so they become an extension of your marketing team, essentially, and get these people in front of yourself. So create an opportunity for yourself with first-time home buyers. The great thing about a first-time home buyer is they're going to buy several homes throughout their lifetime. And if you can maintain that relationship and have a really good start to it, I think there's opportunity to get in front of these people and do a really good job. People need to know what it means when interest rates rise, right? So when I bought my first home in the 90s, interest rates were like 11 or 12%. Today, they're, what are they, 6.5%, which really isn't that crazy. So we're coming out of this time when interest rates were super low, but it's not like the sky's falling right now. There's still opportunity. The rates aren't crazy. I believe they're going to come down a little bit in the next little while. So use that as a benefit. Get these seminars set up, and whether you want to do them monthly or quarterly, and you can also work with a lender. So, a mortgage broker, or you can even work with someone's financial planner in order to get them in front of you to see the value of what real estate traditionally has done from an investment perspective, right? I don't know how many people are on this call that have invested in real estate, but it's not often you're losing money on it. And most markets, what you've seen over the last 20 years is an increase in pricing. And that's why, I'm interested in the home equity side of things, because I think there's so much equity that's been driven in home ownership that it allows you to open some doors for the future.
Yeah, I just want to mention the first time home buyer seminar. I have a friend who does them at a very high level. She's in Boston, Massachusetts, and she used to do in person, but now she's doing virtual still. She switched over to virtual during COVID and just kind of stuck with it because she can do twice as many seminars, and people feel like it's much more convenient, to jump on a Zoom call. And
it's the new way to do business, right?
Mhm.
It's easy to jump on a Zoom call. You don't have to, put a suit and tie on to go to some seminar or dress up. You can just jump on the Zoom. You don't have to use the video side of things, but you can really learn a lot. I love the concept of Zoom and, some of the other technologies that are out there for sure. Couldn't agree more, but, make sure that you've got it, where your database, you're feeding them the information so they understand what you're going to talk about at these seminars and how it's going to be a benefit to them. And you'll get much more users. You'll get more people interested in, joining and participating in the conversation for sure. So one of the other things I want to talk about is open houses, and open houses have always been something that is part of the industry, right? You go to an open house, you see a sign on the corner that says open house, and you might be interested to go check that out. I actually do it. I have no intention of selling my home right now, but I actually go in just to see what's happening and, the price of the home or what the value is to these open homes. But as an agent, what you have to remember is that what you're trying to do at an open house is capture information, right? So, I've seen agents with the traditional, sign-in form paper, but there's lots of apps out there. Chime has an app built into their product, the open house app, where if you actually have that app open on your, call it your tablet, you can actually get the person put into your database right away, and you can actually start nurturing those people. One of the things we talk a lot about at Chime is the long-term follow-up and engagement, right? So you're providing people not only information about that specific property, but more about the market that you actually service. And before they get home, if you can put that in a timely fashion, they've actually received something from you about that property. You can also trigger smart plans where you put them on a drip campaign that's going to last 6 months. So you're not just losing them as they walk out the door. They've become someone who is becoming potential business. And like I said before, people tend to transact multiple times during their life. And one of the places where the industry itself has failed is only something like 14% of people use the same agent twice. So you want to make sure that you're front and foremost and providing them with the relevant information that you want to make sure you're passing out. Now, these drip plans, and I'm talking about a lot of the automation that I talked about before, but to remove that heavy lifting from an agent that you don't have necessary time to do every day, systems can do that for you. And I think it's super important when you're at open houses to collect all that data properly to make sure that you're providing the information to people that attended your open house. Otherwise, the open house really isn't going to bring you much.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think open houses are still some of the best ways to get right in front of people. You're meeting, motivated buyers. They're getting off their butts and going to see a house in person. A lot of times they're not attached to an agent. So it's a great time to have a face-to-face conversation and build that trust right off the bat. So I've always been a big proponent of open houses whenever you can do them.
Yeah, I think they continue to be the #1 place to get your name out into the marketplace. And it's interesting because I've seen a lot of open houses that I go to. It's a junior agent that's there actually working the open house, and the actual agent who owns the listing is not. So it's also giving that opportunity for a junior team member or a junior agent to actually get their name out into the marketplace as well. And if you're part of a team, which I think is going to be key over the next 2 to 3 years, as we evolve teams are really starting to be important because an agent can find that comfort on a team level that they might not have on a regular day when they're struggling to find listings. I have a good friend of mine who just got into real estate. He joined a team locally and they're doing great things. You see their name often, you see the signs on lawns, which is great, but I also get some great marketing material from them, not only online, but through social media and through mailing, right? You have to remember those traditional ways of marketing yourself out on top of some of the new, call it technology functionality that we're getting used to, like virtual tours, and we're presenting ourselves much more on social media. I want to jump off to something a little bit different here, and Nick, you can tell me if you agree or not, but a lot of agents today, that if they're looking for listings and if they're struggling to get listings, there are other ways. Now, the PowerBuyer concept or the iBuyer concept, and we're all familiar with that, or should be as part of the industry. You know, they deliver a warm lead. They do take a large chunk of your commission, but if you're struggling to get your name out there, there are some offerings that I believe can really be helpful now. And once you establish yourself with a bunch of clients, you can then kind of take that and run with it. So, you know, you can see some of the names on the right-hand side. We work a lot with HomeLight and Zillow, but I think it's an opportunity for agents that are looking for help to actually get into these programs. Now, the one thing in a difficult economy is that there's no upfront cost for a lot of these players, right, Nick? I mean,
Yeah.
they're there to help you. They have their consumer program, but they also have great agent programs where, yeah, they take somewhere between 30 and 35% of your commission. But if there's a lot of commission available on each property, I think there's an opportunity there. So I'm not going to necessarily say jump out and do that right away, but I really do suggest taking a look at some of the iBuyer, PowerBuyer, or referral programs that are out there to drive new leads. And a lot of agents, you know, especially the ones that, you know, grew up in the industry in the 90s or early 2000s, where lead conversion wasn't very strong, right? It was like 3% from realtor.com leads or Zillow leads when they got into the market at first. But when you're doing more of a referral program like Zillow Flex or OpCity, you're getting that direct warm transfer. So you don't have to do the groundwork, right? So it's a direct transfer, and it's an opportunity for you to get some sellers and buyers into your database that are actually really looking, right? That's what I like about them. I'm not an agent, right? So I can only tell you what I believe are the best methodologies. And I believe that if you're struggling, reach out to one of these people or companies and see if they offer the program in your market, first of all, but also take a look at the value that they bring. You know, if they're delivering you really good leads, if they're strong, you know, if they are the warm leads that they're promising, I would take a gander and at least give them a try.
I think there's no downside in the sense that, like, you know, there's no upfront costs. So, you know, if you are, you know, a newer agent, and you, a lot of times with teams, this is a program that may not work as well, but
Yeah,
if you're a solo agent or you're new, there, like I said, there's no cost out of your pocket, and they take the heavy lifting away by qualifying these potential buyers or sellers for you. So I think, yeah, I mean, right now in this crazy market, if you could get a qualified buyer who's pre-approved and ready to buy something, or a seller who's ready to sell, go for it, because you got to look at like your cost of acquiring a client, right? Like, how much money are you spending on Facebook ads? How much money are you spending on Zillow leads? It could really just kind of make sense from an ROI standpoint.
absolutely. Right. And if you've trimmed a little bit or you don't have an assistant anymore, I think this can really help you get into your market quicker and maintain the business, right? So you might have a really big database, but if you're not getting any action out of that database, it's a good option for you as an agent to actually give this a try. Now, something that's near and dear to my heart, because I actually worked with a social media company for real estate agents for 3 years. So I'm a huge advocate of social media. And there's really a few things that you can do with social media today that you couldn't do before, right? So the rules have loosened and they change every once in a while, but as we expand our social presence, right? So whether you're using Facebook, which is still the #1 real estate model for social media, you've got attachment to Instagram. People are getting more creative with YouTube videos, TikTok videos are even becoming something. Now I'm a little older, so I haven't jumped on some of the trains, but I do believe, and I spend a ton of time. I don't know if anybody follows me on LinkedIn, but that's where I spend a ton of time promoting not just myself, but the Chime business. So social media, there's an art to it, right? So, for Chime, we have a product called Social Media, Social Pro, that allows you to automatically post to whatever sites you're going to choose to work with. And there's lots of technology companies that are doing that today, and you're working within one platform. And again, it's automated, so you don't really have to worry about when your posts are going to happen or the content, because you've already picked that and you've already decided what you're going to post. Now, where some people go wrong is they don't make it market centric, right? So you've got to make sure that your geographic market is where you focus. And one of the ways you can be really successful doing that is if you have past clients. This is where I talked about testimonials before. And it shouldn't take you a lot of effort to reach out to those customers. You've done business with them in the past. If they could write a testimonial that you could not only use for instance, your website, but also post it out to your social media sites where people are going to drive interest, because then it shows you that you are becoming an expert in the industry and very specifically to your market, right? I was looking at prices of homes in my market compared to some other local markets, and it's actually crazy how they differentiate from city to city. So you want to make sure that you understand the economic conditions in your specific market, the pricing. Is it going up? Is it going down? How many homes are available? What the comps look like? And there's lots of information that you can gather. The other key piece to social media is growing your network on your social platforms. So one of the ways you can do that is just ask, if they're not willing to give you a testimonial, if you could ask them to share your content. You are going to be on their Facebook feed or their Instagram feed. So if they can just share your content out, you're automatically going to basically take hold of a lot of their users who are going to see a lot of your content that you're providing. And if they see that as valuable, guess what? They're going to reach out to you more than likely, or they're going to make a comment on social, or they're going to ask you for more information. But once we gather that information, then we can start automatically feeding the content that's important. I've got a local agent here that I actually do a lot of business with because she's so good at what she does. But she actually took it to the extent where she actually bought a bus and she drives people from open house to open house just to show them what's available if they're willing to do that. And she actually drove that all through social media to start. She was a single agent. She grew to a team of 2, and now she's a team of 6. So there's some really good stories out there.
That's cool, man. I love that. And it doesn't have to be a bus. It could be a van.
Yeah, a van.
And it's a great way to bring convenience. Put it out there into social media saying that you're doing an open house tour. A lot of people, especially where I'm from in northern New Jersey, that'd be super beneficial, because a lot of our buyers there, they come from New York City, they don't have cars. So, we would pick them up at the train a lot.
Yep.
And drive them around. We could do that with like 10 people. That'd be
I think
huge.
she's with EXP, so she doesn't have an office. So it's a good way of getting in front of people face to face, just doing something completely different. But how she did that was she has a great social profile. And that's really what's key, right? Is make sure that people are aware of where you do business, the markets that you work in, kind of your concepts, the value of the homes that you typically deal with, whether they're high end, mid-level, or low level. People are really concerned about that. If they want to spend X amount of dollars, they want to know that you understand kind of the market that you're going in. So by building a really strong social profile, you can really build that out quickly.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, ultimately, it's about getting creative, right? And building a story around you and your real estate business and your expertise. So, those are just some quick tips that I wanted to throw out there. I'm happy to do another webinar. I don't know, Nick, some of your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the stuff, still really works. Open houses, um, keeping in touch with your sphere, just calling people 4 times a year, see how they're doing, wishing people happy birthday, sending them cards on the holidays. I mean, just make sure you have a scheduled out touch program that can help you stay relevant. And I know with and top of mind, I know with smart plans you could do that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So, again, it's that heavy lifting that you can take off your shoulders. And whether that's, you think about Gary Keller and his 36-step plan, right? So you can actually build that into a smart plan where you're doing that automatically. And then there's obviously what we recommend as a business is to reach out to people face to face as well. And whether that's through a text, an email, a personal visit, a little door knocking never hurt anybody. I still have a guy who comes by regularly and he's actually driven quite a lot of business that way. But in this time, there's so much technology available. You have to make sure that you're using it, and whether that's social or the system or the platform that you're on. Obviously, we'd love to have you on Chime, and if you want to learn more, let us know. But yeah, so get creative.
By the way, I was recently at home in New Jersey for Christmas, and my mother is an agent. She's been in the business for about 30 years. She did 50 pop buys for the holidays. So like,
Nice.
she went to 50 of her best clients and dropped off little gifts and stuff. So anyway, when I was at the house, there was a knock at the door and she answered it. And it was one of her clients who said, "You give us so many things. You bring so many things to our house. Now it's our turn. We're bringing a gift to you." So they gave her a nice bottle of wine. And I thought that was cool. Like, they see that she's keeping in touch, appreciating them, and now they're appreciating her. This stuff works. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
Um,
fantastic, right? And as the consumer becomes more engaged with all these different sites that are available, you want to make sure they're going to your website or they're going to your social page, or they're coming to your door and knocking on there and giving you a gift. I mean, that's a great story about
yeah.
someone who does a great job as a real estate agent.
I just want to say John Cooper is asking a question. Where do we find details on the Chime EXP partnership? I'm with EXP. So anyone who is with EXP on this call, you can email me at nick.baldwin@success.com, nick.baldwin@success.com. I'll point you in the right direction. I'll put my email
Or
address.
honestly, feel free to emailing me as well, Nick, if you're happy to share my email address. I'm
Okay, yeah,
happy
I'll
to
do
do that as well.
nick.baldwin@success.com. And then what's your email address?
Stuart, Stuart.sim, SIM at chimeinc.com.
Yeah, so either one of us can help you if you're an EXP agent, point you in the right direction with the EXP partnership. I think there's a small fee, but it's like $25. It's like nothing. So
Yeah, we've got a pretty good deal for EXP for sure. Yeah, as we grow the program out, so some of the stuff we've done in the last year is we're really getting close with EXP. I'm super happy about that relationship. I think it's going to go a long way with us.
yeah, I'm excited too because I'm new to EXP, so I'm excited to dig in more on that partnership too. Stuart, this is awesome. Thank you so much for being on with us. Jake, drop in the chat where they can find out more about Chime with LabCoatAgents. So I think Jake's been doing that periodically.
Yes.
So that's good. Oh, here it is. Oh, yeah, here it is. I'm just going to copy and I'm going to paste to everybody. Cool. Sweet. All right. Thanks, man. Appreciate you being here.
Yeah, anytime. Happy to do it. Again, if anybody wants to learn more about Chime, just go to the website. There's lots of information there. You now have my email address, so feel free to email. I'm happy to respond really quickly.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Everyone have a great day. Hope you got some value. This replay will be up on YouTube in the next couple of days. So be able to watch it over and over and over and over. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks, Nick. Have a great day, everybody.
You too.